my internet is down on my PC, so I don't know what.
Hey, you're here, so that's what matters.
Yeah.
And
We've all had to.
Chair Moss, if you ever want to donate your hair, David and I will be glad to receive them.
Oh, man.
Keep that sun off.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I think we are at 12 o'clock. Do we have quorum?
Let us double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Charlotte, could you confirm that we have quorum? Based on my count, we do have quorum already.
Yes, I believe we do have quorum. Just give us 1 second. Yanine is going live on YouTube.
Got it.
We are live now.
All right, Chair Moss, we do have quorum now, so we may proceed.
All right. So it is 12:01. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the Capital Projects and Construction Committee. And so, Charlotte, before we begin today's meeting, do you have any instructions on the virtual meeting? Oh, I've lost everybody.
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, thank you for joining today's committee meeting. As always, please note that today's meeting is conducted via Zoom webinar. Members of the committee who are attending via Zoom are encouraged to raise your hand when you have a comment or would like to ask a question, and our staff will call on the members in the order of received requests. Members of the public can provide verbal public comments by raising their hand during the beginning of the agenda item that they would like to comment on. Please note that verbal public comments are limited to 3 minutes each.
Okay. So I've lost everybody on the screen. I just have like all of the language. I have no pictures.
Well,
When I've run into this before, I usually try to log off and log back on, or I can just proceed and we can go through this meeting and I don't have to see everybody. But
you can only see the presentation?
I can't see anything. All I can see is like you are viewing Charlotte Stadelman's screen and view options and everybody's names and like the boxes, but there's no video whatsoever. So would you indulge me and let me log off and log back on? See if that helps.
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to figure out what it could be.
Yeah, Chair Moss, since we have quorum right now, my suggestion is if you like, you pause for 2 minutes or 3, reboot your computer, then log back in while we're waiting for you. I hope other committee members.
As long as everybody's okay with that, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and hopefully that'll fix it. I'll be right back.
Can you guys hear me? It's Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy.
I can't get through on my computer, so I'm on my phone. But yeah, I've heard everything you said. So I'm going to try the computer again while we're waiting here. So.
And while we're waiting, so what I could do is I could tell you what we see from the office. We see Member Sandoval, live picture, we're waving at you. And Member Jakubowski, we see your picture with your background image. Vice Chair Habron and General Counsel David DeBerry. We also see Member Mahmood with beautiful old Pasadena in the back. And then the rest, we have President Shavelin and Executive Director Marissa Crater.
Okay, it would appear that fixed it.
All right, great.
So,
now we're back.
All right. So sorry about that. Okay, so I believe we left off at the Pledge of Allegiance, and I did message Member Lyons if she would be so kind as to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please mute your microphone so we don't have everyone speaking over each other, please.
So yes, if everybody would please rise, and I will do the Pledge of Allegiance right now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Member Lyons. I appreciate that very much. All right, roll call. Eric, would you please display the real-time tracking and take the roll call?
Certainly. Charlotte, please proceed.
Sure. Okay. Chair Moss,
Present.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Present.
President Shevlin,
Present.
Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jacobowski,
Here.
Member Lyons,
Here.
Member Mahmood,
Here.
Member Morales, absent.
Here.
Member,
I'm sorry.
oh, let me change that. Member Jimenez,
Here.
Member Sandoval,
Here.
okay, Chair Moss, we have quorum.
All right, thank you very much. That brings us to public comment. Eric, have we received any public comments?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any comments on the public comments portion of it, but I suggest that we give a short break and make sure that no other attendees will make a comment. Charlotte, could you confirm if there's any public attendees?
We do have public attendees, but no one has raised their hand.
Okay, we're not seeing
Charlotte?
any.
Or Chair Mouse, can I ask a question? Somebody is trying to get into the meeting. That's a guest. So if they use Zoom link, can they get in or not?
Yes, they should be able to use the Zoom link to access.
The Zoom link that's printed on our agenda, right?
Yes. Are they having trouble?
Yeah, they're having trouble. Okay, I will just reiterate to use that Zoom link.
We might need to resend that to that individual. We have to make sure that they're able to attend.
Yanine, can you send the link to Member Lyons?
Yes, will do.
And there's no meeting ID number, right?
Yes, there is, but when you click on the link, it should work. It should
Okay.
just take you to the webinar.
Okay, so if you resend the link to me, then I'll resend it to this person.
Will do.
Just to clarify, Mr. DeBerry, we need to wait and make sure that individual can log on, correct?
It depends on whether it's the individual's own particular network that's having the issue or whether we're having an issue. But it sounds like we have other members of the public that have been able to log on. Is that correct, Charlotte?
Yes, we have 3 members of the public currently on the
So it
webinar.
seems like our feed is working.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead then. And so I don't believe we have any public comments. And we'll go ahead and move to number 4, which is changes to the agenda. Eric, do we have any?
Staff is
Would anyone
not.
like to? Go ahead.
Staff is not anticipating any emergency items prior to our next meeting in September.
Okay. Very good. If there's nothing else, then we'll go ahead and we'll move to the consent calendar. Looks like we have 2 items under the consent calendar. And do we have any public comments for the consent calendar?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any comments on the consent item.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and check and make sure there's no one on the line who wants to speak as to the item.
Charlotte, do you mind if you confirm if anyone has comment, raised the hands for or expressed the comments?
No hands raised at this time.
Great.
All right, if there's none, can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Sandoval, move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Member Sandoval. I didn't catch who the second was. Was that Tim?
Tim, yes.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Tim.
Eric, can you please take the roll?
Certainly. Charlotte, please display the roll call.
All right. Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
President Shevlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jacobowski,
Yes.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood, Member Mahmood,
Yes.
Member Morales, Member Morales.
Hmm.
Oh. Let me make sure she's still on. Oh, we might have lost her. Okay. Awesome for now. Member Jimenez,
Yes.
Member Sandoval.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
All right, very good. So that brings us to action item 7.
Item number 7. And before I proceed, may I ask either Charlotte or Yanin if you could change member Jimenez's username display. Right now, her username is shown as Zoom user. If you could change to her name, that's easier for our record going forward.
Yes, I will change it right now.
Great. And on the screen, the action item, I want to make a verbal correction. It's actually action item number 7. So thanks, Chair Moss. We did not receive any comments prior to the meeting on item number 7. So I'm going to proceed with my staff report.
Thank you.
Item number 7, 8, and 9, they are similar in nature in support of our Montebello Boulevard and or Turnbull Canyon Road grade separation projects. For item number 7, staff is recommending to the committee to authorize the executive director to issue task order number 13, revision number 7, not to exceed $95,671 to LSA Associates for performing bio-nesting bird surveys, archaeological and paleontological monitoring, and the program management for the Montebello Boulevard grade separation project. Back in 2022, when LSA submitted a scope and a cost for supporting our annual ongoing ACE project, the company was unaware of the fast-changing progress of the Montebello corridor project, specifically related to the Montebello Boulevard grade separation project. Due to the time constraint for the committee to approve the entire annual task order on May 23, 2022, staff instructed LSA to submit a supplemental scope and a cost. The recommended amendment included 3 specific tasks included on page 10 of the agenda item. I also want to clarify that when LSA submitted the supplemental task and also cost back in June, due to the fact that July committee meeting was canceled, and that was the reason that we had to place this item in our August meeting, and that was the lag in terms of why the supplemental amendment came so late. I also want to acknowledge that attachment 2 to this item number 7 was accidentally left out during our final production. We will insert document attachment number 2 as part of our final meeting minutes, and I do apologize for that leaving that attachment out. The recommended annual task order revision for the Montebello Boulevard grade separation project is a necessary and prudent allocation of resources. Funds for funding LSA's additional work is being funded with various state grants, local funds, and the UPRR contribution. This concludes my brief report, and I will be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Eric. Members, do we have any questions for staff? Okay. If there's no further discussion on this item, can I have a motion to approve item number 7?
Charlotte, please proceed with the roll call.
Wait, I need a motion.
Motion to
I'm
approve.
sorry.
I'll second.
So I have a motion by member Hepburn and a second by member Lyons. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, I was one of 2 people seconding it, but yes.
That's great.
All right, Chair Moss,
Yes?
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
President Shevlin.
Yeah.
I think I heard her say yes. Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jacobowski,
Yes.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood,
Yes.
Member Morales, absent. Member Jimenez,
Yes.
Member Sandoval.
Yes.
Okay, Chair Moss, motion passed.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item number 8, which is Annual Task Order 25 Revision 1 with Stantec for the Montebello Boulevard and Turnbull Canyon grade separation projects. And before we proceed, Eric, have we received any public comments on this item?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any public comments on this item.
Okay. Let's pause to make sure there's nobody at this time who wants to speak on the item. Not seeing anyone. All right. Eric, would you please proceed with your report?
Certainly. Staff is recommending the committee to authorize the executive director to issue task order number 25, revision 1, not to exceed $436 to Stantec for performing additional waste disposal, soil collection services, and water sample analysis for the Montebello Boulevard and also for Turnbull Canyon grade separation projects. Back in February 2022, when Stantec submitted a scope and also cost for supporting the ongoing ACE project in fiscal year 2023, Stantec was not aware of the progress of the Montebello corridor project, specifically related to the Montebello Boulevard grade separation project, and also the Turnbull Canyon Road grade separation project. Due to the time constraint for committee to approve the entire annual task order on May 23rd, 2022, staff instructed Stantec to submit a supplemental scope and a cost. The recommended amendment includes 4 specific tasks and the billing rates adjustments. This recommended actions are included on page 12 of the agenda package. The recommended annual task order revision for the Montebello Boulevard grade separation project is a necessary and prudent allocation of resources. Funds for Stantec's work is being funded with various state grants, local funds, and UPRR contribution. That concludes my brief remark, and I will be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Eric. All right, colleagues, do we have any discussion? I do see a hand raised, a couple of hand raised. We'll start. I see Member Mahmood, South Pasadena.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Eric, I'm a little confused by, and it's a minor amount, but it's the $11,000 for billing rate adjustments, because I assume that when Stantec identified these costs, that they would be using the most recent cost. I just want to make sure that we're not paying twice. So based upon the separate $11,000 for billing rate adjustment, I would assume that the individual cost breakdowns for the preceding items were based on rates before we approved a billing rate adjustment. Can you please explain?
Certainly, I'm going to see if I see my John Bichet is on the line, just in case John can help me out a little bit. The billing rate adjustment stems from that Stantec has been our on-call service and per our existing master contract, they are entitled for a salary for a rate increase after certain years. It is my understanding that as part of this amendment, we work with our accounting and also finance department and look at their existing rates and make necessary adjustments to the entire fiscal year 2023, the work that they are authorized to perform based on the rate, the new rate. So I believe that's where the adjustments came from. John, would you be able to confirm?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair Moss, committee members. Member Mahmood, that is correct. When Stantec had submitted their initial annual task order, they did not use the latest billing rate. So they came after and they requested to use the latest billing rates and for 2023. So it has not been accounted twice.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Member Lyons?
Thank you, Chair. When I read this item, I tell you what really caught my mind is one of the last things on here. It said UPRR contribution, as actually they contributed to this. So I am just really curious, how much do they contribute, if we know?
It is meant, UPRR is contributing to every project based on the master comm agreement and also based on project specific comm agreement. So we do have a spreadsheet. We track what is their contribution based on each project's theoretical costs, and then they would then contribute towards that amount. I do not have the specific number for Montebello, right?
Oh, no, we don't need the specific number. So what you're saying is this was a, a deal or a contract or whatever we had with UPRR that, based on increased expenses, they're going to pay some of it.
So the UPRR is required to contribute to the overall project. So for Montebello, for Turnbull Canyon, every project that involving UPRR, they do contribute financially. The proportion may not be as large as we wish, but I think in all fairness and being transparent, they deserve to be acknowledged for their financial contribution for every project that they put their money in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I didn't know that they were putting money in. I thought that they were just kind of going the other way, taking money away from us. So that's very interesting. Thank you. I'll move the item.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on this? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Charlie?
Okay, Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
President Shevlin, President Shevlin, I think you're on mute, President Shevlin.
Why don't we come back?
Sure.
There I am. I couldn't get to the screen for whatever. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jacobowski,
Yes.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood,
Yes.
Member Morales, absent. Member Jimenez,
Yes.
Member Sandoval,
Yes.
motion passed.
All right, very good. That will bring us to item number 9, task order number 2, revision 10 with HNTB for the Turnbull Canyon grade separation project. Eric, before we go forward, do we have any public comments on this item?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any public comments on this item before the meeting.
Okay. Pause just a second, see if there's anybody. I'm not seeing any. If you would please proceed with your report, sir.
Sure, thanks, Chair Moss. Staff is recommending the committee to authorize the executive director to issue task order number 2, revision 10, not to exceed $394,080 to HNTB for performing additional design work and program management, as well as augmentation of in-house staffing for the Turnbull Canyon Grade Separation Project between June 30th, 2022 and also June 30th, 2023. HNTB has been under contract to provide design services since the beginning of the project. Additional budget is being recommended to address comments from Southern California Edison and also UPRR in order to complete the design plans for getting to the construction phase in late 2023. The recommended amendment includes 5 specific tasks. They are shown on page 14 of the agenda package. The task order revision, along with the anticipated increase in construction costs, will increase the overall project budget. The project team has been focusing on risk analyses, ascertaining the updated cost estimate to be fiscally constrained and feasible. Staff is also very actively pursuing additional grant opportunities to fully fund the project to completion. This concludes my brief remarks, and I will be glad to answer any additional questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Eric. Member Mahmood, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Eric, I have a couple of questions. One is, I see that the task order is due to expire at the end of next fiscal year. Do we anticipate that the design work will be completed by then?
Let me answer quickly, just in case I left out something. I will ask the Senior Project Manager, John Bichet, to help out. We anticipate to finish the 100% design by early part of next year, because we are scheduled to proceed with the funding allocation approval by the California Transportation Commission in May of 2023. So we are very confident that the design phase will be completed by early part of 2023 calendar year. HNTB will remain on the project to provide design support during the construction phase. That may require additional, that would be a new task order, but under a different task order for specific tasks during construction.
Right. No, I understand that, but that's good to hear that we anticipate 100% completion of design by early next year. I have some additional questions. One, I see that there's $33,000 for, among other things, additional utility coordination and right-of-way. Did we end up hiring a right-of-way, a utility coordinator person?
So you are referring to Montebello Boulevard. That a year ago we came to you, and that's how we were able to recruit Charlotte Stellman, who is on the screen, and she has been doing tremendous job in supporting Montebello Boulevard project. And Charlotte has been working on several different key functions, including managing the Laverne Bridge in addition to the committee, and also continue to serve as utility for Montebello. But we do not have a direct support, in-house support directly on the utility coordination for the Turnbull Canyon project. So that's the reason that we have been leaning on HNTB to help us to get through this last few months of getting all necessary documentations so that we can get to the funding allocation.
I see. I misunderstood. I recall the committee expressing great interest in the COG, someone to do utility coordination for, I thought, all projects rather than just limited to one project.
I could assure you, Member Mahmood, we among the team, we share knowledge, we help each other out. At the time when we approached the committee at that time, our primary focus was to get Montebello Boulevard under control, and it was a critical item at that moment. So that was how we have been focusing on. And we do see that Turnbull Canyon is also getting very close to the full funding allocation phase. And I think this is a very fiscally constrained investment for us to get the needs that we need without expanding or reshuffling our staff load.
Okay. And then with regard to the next bulleted item, additional budget for program management, including progress report and invitation for bids, it would seem that this should have been included in the original contract. Can you explain why this is being called out as a separate item for 41,000?
It really all interrelated with project schedule delay. This project has been, the project slowed down in early part of last year, 2021. And then it really was that re-energizing the project scope, and that had caused us to revisit what was originally approved for each of the consultants working on this project as the time has lapsed, as we now fund ourselves in meeting the CTC funding allocation. Now we had to restart a lot of work, and yet the previously allocated budget had been exhausted. So I think the best answer for Chair Mahmood, for Member Mahmood, is that when project is delayed, it really has ripple effect on all contracts. And this is one example that is a great example, unfortunately, that the cost will continue to escalate. But I think now we have a clear time frame, and we're containing it to our best ability, and we have much certain cost estimate going forward.
I see. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. So it sounds like we'll be shovel ready then in less than 6 months.
So the current, as I explained to you earlier, we are very appreciative that the California Transportation Commission approved a 12-month extension back in May 2022. So we have additional 12 months to get all necessary documentations ready for the commission to allocate the full funding in May 2023. It is our obligation to package all of the necessary documentation, secure the funding in May 2023. Once we secure the funding, we have every desire to enter into construction. And I believe our schedule is we are entering into construction no later than the end of 2023 calendar year.
Thank you.
All right, colleagues, do we have any other comments or discussion on this item? Okay, can we have a motion to approve item number 9?
Motion to approve.
Sandoval,
Okay.
second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Eric, will you please call the roll?
Certainly, Charlotte, please proceed.
Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
President Shevlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis absent, Member Jacobowski,
Yes.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood,
Yes.
Member Morales, absent, Member Jimenez,
Yes.
Member Sandoval.
Yes.
Okay, Chair Moss, motion passed.
Very good, thank you. Okay, that brings us to item number 10, which is amendment number 1 to agreement 22-10 with National Railroad Safety Services, Inc. for railroad flagging services for Fairway Drive grade separation project. Eric, have we received any public comment on this item?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any comments on this item.
All right. I don't see any hands raised from anyone else. So if you would please proceed with your report.
Thank you. Staff is recommending the committee to authorize the executive director to execute amendment number 1 to agreement 22-10 in an amount of $91,665 to National Railroad Safety Services to continue and to provide railroad flagging services for the Fairway Drive grade separation construction project. The Fairway project is progressing and nearing completion. Recently, a number of factors, however, have resulted in additional delays to the expected completion date from original anticipated in December of 2022 to March of 2023. Flagging services must be accompanied with active construction activities. Therefore, staff is recommending to approve the amendment. The additional cost for flagging service is within the original project budget that would have been paid to UPRR flagging service. Therefore, there's no additional fiscal impact at this moment to the overall project cost. I also want to emphasize that the overall project team is watching all of the expenditures very, very closely, tightly, as we are approaching the end of the project. So that concludes my brief remark, and I will be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Eric. Members, do we have any questions or any discussion on this item? And I'm not seeing any raised hands. So if there's no further discussion, can I have a motion and a second to approve the item?
I'll move it. Lyons.
Second, Hepburn.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Will you please call the roll?
Sure. Charlotte, please proceed.
Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
President Shevlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis absent, Member Jacobowski,
Yes.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood,
Yes.
Member Morales absent, Member Jimenez,
Yes.
Member Sandoval.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
All right, very good. That takes us to item number 11. Agreement with the Los Angeles County Parks and Recreation for the planned improvements to the Diamond Bar Golf Course as part of the State Route 5760 Choke Point Relief Program. Eric, have we received any public comments on this item?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any public comments before the meeting.
Okay. And if there's no one at this time that wants to speak on the item, if you would please proceed with your report, sir.
Sure. Staff is recommending the committee to authorize the executive director to execute the betterment agreement number 2 with the County of Los Angeles Parks and Recreation for additional improvements to the county-owned Diamond Bar Golf Course as part of the State Route 5760 Confluence Choke Point Relief Program Phase 1. The detailed justification is included in the report. I would like to highlight the partnership and collaboration between the county and the project team. The reduction of turf coverage after the new golf course is completed, the parks estimate approximately 20 to 30% of water could be saved on their irrigation. In light of the severe and chronic drought that we're all facing, the parks and us are willing to work together and look for additional opportunities as part of the construction for finding sustainable and also responsive responsible improvements when building the new infrastructure. As part of the betterment agreement number 2, we will pay the golf course contractor for the work described in the attachment, and then seek reimbursement from the county parks. There will be no fiscal impact to the overall project budget or to our agency. Once again, I just want to emphasize the collaboration and also willingness to work together and find while construction is taking place and then make necessary improvements. With that concludes my brief report, and I will be glad to answer any additional questions you may have.
Thank you very much. I see Member Lyons has her hand up.
I do. Thank you, Chair. Eric, I'm just wondering, when things like this happen, you change grass to turf, and maybe you have more gravel or more dirt or whatever. Is that done through the golf association so that the course can still keep its whatever ranking it has?
Chair Lyons, you asked a very, very technical question. I'm going to ask as Renee Coronel, a senior project manager on this project, for his help.
Great.
That's a good question. So we are working with the designer of record, the golf course designer. So basically, it's kind of the parks had this concept back in 2018, and then we brought it up again. And what we proposed was very similar to what somebody had looked at back at 2018. So in terms of maintaining its character, yes, we're looking at that. And as we're doing some of the grading work out there, the golf course architect and the designer are out there, okay, adjust this, an extra foot of here, extra foot there. So just to keep the character of the golf course. A lot of it is under the trees. We're kind of reducing those areas. It's your ball goes within the tree. You can't really see it. It's not a really playable area.
So it's all being done with the golf course designer.
Yep.
Okay. So then we should be fine with that. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any other questions or comments on item 11? All right. If there's none, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. We have a second.
Sandoval, second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Charlie?
Okay, Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
President Shevlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jacobowski,
Yes.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood,
Yes.
Member Morales, absent. Member Jimenez,
Yes.
Member Sandoval.
Yes.
Okay, Chair Moss, motion passed.
Thank you very much. All right, so that brings us to item number 12, which is major capital projects progress reports, fiscal year 21-22 for fourth quarter. Eric, have we received any public comments on this item?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any comments on this item before the meeting.
Okay. If we don't have any at this point, then if you would please proceed, sir.
Sure. And Charlie, if you don't mind, if you can display the very first slide. And Chair Moss and member of the committee, staff is very, very pleased and excited to roll out the new way of displaying our progress on our major capital projects. In the agenda package, we included a summary on all projects backed up with detailed information for individual projects. The proposed dashboard format simplifies key performance indicators for each project with charts and graphics. Similar to past quarterly reports, the proposed dashboard uses a one-page format on expenditures, schedules, work completed, and highlights areas of concerns. In addition, in the new dashboard format, we also provide the funding source budget and also quarter to quarter, quarter over quarter expenditure for each fund source. The migration from one format to another has been a team effort. I want to acknowledge each project manager, including Renee Cornell and Gary Cardamone, John Bichet, and Charlotte Stettleman, and with the support of Yanin Rivera, and also many colleagues in finance department. Staff will continue incorporating additional feedback from the committee and fully migrate to the full format starting in first quarter of next fiscal year. So on the screen, this is where I think the most significant change that we are trying to make information more user-friendly, so that for non-technical audience, it's much easier for you to grasp. So for instance, Fairway Drive grade separation project, in terms of design and the right-of-way acquisition phase, it is 100% complete. We're nearing the completion of the construction. Therefore, the pie chart, the meter shows approximately 98% complete. I have to look at very, very closely. But what we're trying to illustrate, comparing to what previously shown in the table format, is to help the committee to understand among different parts of our budget, whether it's the design phase, right-of-way phase, and also construction phase, how expenditure had incurred quarter over quarter in the last 4 quarters. Instead of comparing to in the past, we simply share with the committee with a lump sum cumulative expenditure as of the end of that quarter. We hope that will help you to understand the amount of effort that is involved by contractors through each quarter of expenditure. To the summary chart under the new format, we also wanted to share with committee in terms of each fund source, how are we depleting each fund source? And that's where you see on the right-hand side of the chart to the right, in the middle portion, there are 3 charts showing the solid green and then orange color in the middle. And that is to help the audience to understand what fund sources are funding this particular project and how much we have exhausted and how much is left. Then last, we try to consolidate a lot of written information, which previously they were scattered over 3 or 4 different places. We try to consolidate it. And when we ask ourselves, what do you really want to see that is meaningful, instead of just regurgitating the same information in 4 different boxes? That's where we came up with a display on the lower right-hand side on the new format, just to point out what are the big issues. Again, our intent is to make the format much easier for you to digest, to ask questions. And but we are definitely open to additional suggestions. If you feel that we're missing out or we left out something that was very critical in the past, we'll be more than happy to reinsert it. But this is meant to be a prototype, meant to be the demo version for you to give us feedback, and then we'll continue to improve. So with that, that concludes my presentation, and I will be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Eric, we actually have just one more slide.
Oh, okay.
The overview, if you just want to go over this.
Great. In addition, we have come up with this idea that instead of having you go through 9 different projects trying to figure out where we are, in the future, every quarterly report will give you the summary of all 9 all the active projects, where they are by 3 phases, and so that it's much easier for you to digest and then ask us for any clarification you may have. So with that, Chair Moss, back to you.
Chair Moss, you're on mute. And Member Lyons and Member Mahmood have their hand raised.
I was trying to address Member Lyons' raise hand and then go to Member Mahmood. I apologize for that.
I was trying to read lips, but not very. I just want to express my appreciation to staff coming up with this report. It is a lot easier to understand, and I really like the way that it's formatted, and I just think it's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Member Mahmood?
Yes, Eric, I wish to do the same. This is more user-friendly. And in particular, I really like the idea of, in addition to the individual summaries, providing the overall summary in something that's very, very easy to follow. It's very helpful. Thank you. Good work.
And thank you very much. And it has taken us a while, but as I mentioned earlier, it is a team effort. It's almost like firefighting. The fire is burning, but yeah, at the same time, we still need to know the big direction that we're going. So as I express my sincere appreciation to the team, now we bought into this format. We are going to continue to refine it to make it as easy and robust going forward.
Thank you very much, Eric. I definitely agree. I like the way it looks. It's very helpful. It is a lot more clear for people like me, especially who don't have a whole lot of experience in this sort of thing, to have a better understanding of where we are on all these projects. So I want to say thank you to staff as well.
Great, thanks. And
All right.
Chair Moss, this item is for receive and file. No action is necessary.
All right, then it has been received and it will be filed. So that will take us on to item number 13, ongoing ACE construction project mitigation monitoring reports, FY 21-22 for the fourth quarter. Eric, do we have any public comments on this item?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any public comments before the meeting.
Okay, let's just wait a second and see if there's anyone. Doesn't look like we have anyone who's raising their hand. So if you would please proceed, sir.
Thanks, Chair. The quarterly monitoring reports track compliance during construction with environmental mitigations and best management practices. Detailed information related to each project is contained in the staff report. And this is one report that we haven't figured out how to make it more user-friendly. I know it is a bit dry, but yeah, at the same time, it is a requirement that we must perform. With that, I will be glad to answer any additional questions the committee may have. Otherwise, this item is for receive and a file.
All right. Do we have any raised hands? I'm not seeing anyone. Okay. So we'll go ahead and receive and file. Eric, I'm sorry, but if in the Q&A link, my city manager, Joshua Nelson, has brought up that there seems to be an issue for the link on the homepage, and it might not have been because he's coming on from YouTube, I believe.
Oh.
So I don't know if somebody wants to go ahead and try to answer that while we proceed.
Noted. Charlotte, would you be able to, or could one of our staff can respond?
Let me see. Oh, I see it. Yeah. So he said that the link on the homepage and the first page of the agenda isn't working. Let me respond to him.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I believe that takes us to item number 14 and the Director of Capital Projects monthly report. Eric, do we have any public comment on this item?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any comments prior to the meeting on this item.
Okay. Let's see if we have anybody. I do not see any other raised hands, so if you would please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Chair. In addition to the written report, I'm very pleased to inform the committee that on August 17th, Union Pacific Railroad has approved and accepted our 100% design plans. I wish I could jump up and down. It is a very important accomplishment, and we thank their cooperation. So we now have 100% design plan accepted by Union Pacific. Follow up with Union Pacific. It is my understanding that they are getting very close to fully execute the COM agreement, which stands for Construction, Operation, and Maintenance Agreement. And they expect to fully execute by late September or possibly a little sooner. In addition, the Los Angeles Metro Finance, Budget, and Audit Committee approved the financial plan for fully funding the project. And thanks for member Sandoval and board director Sandoval for supporting this request. The project, so the board, a Metro board is expected to approve this item on August 25th. Once again, it has been a team effort among technical and government affairs and also agency partners. We're very, very confident that we will secure all necessary documentation for and submit to Caltrans in early October, and also for the California Transportation Commission's funding allocation in December. We are planning to issue the invitation for bids in January of 2023 and enter into construction phase in July or in July of 2023. That concludes my additional remark on the written report. And I also would like to just express my sincere appreciation for the committee. And this also marks my last meeting as Director of Capital Projects and the Chief Engineer. Again, I enjoy my last 21 months of tenure with the committee under the guidance of you. And I'm just very grateful to have a great team that I work with. And I'm very, very confident that the team will continue to move forward on all of our challenging projects under your leadership. With that, Chair, back to you.
Thank you so much, Eric. And I would also just like to thank you for all of your hard work. I know that this has been an incredible journey. It's just had tremendous challenges. And I just want to thank you for everything that you've done and for working with this team. That is not at all what I was hoping to hear on my first meeting here today, but I wanted to just wish you all the very best and hope that you do keep in touch, sir.
Thank you.
Colleagues, I'll go to Member Sandoval. I think he had his hand up first.
Well, like you, Chair Moss, I wasn't expecting that. And, Eric, I'm sure we've made this position incredibly easy for you over the last 21 months. But we all know that there have been some challenges during that period. And I just want to express my sincerest thanks to you for your professionalism, your willingness to listen and to grow and to help make this effort an improvement on where we were at before. So I just want to express my sincerest thanks to you for all the work that you've done to get us to this point. You will be missed, and I wish you all the best as you move on in your career. I assume you're moving on in your career. I also have a question, and I'm sure that my colleagues want to express their thanks as well. But one of the things that I'd like to request, if I can, of your team, Eric, is I know that when ACE first started back in 1998, between then and now, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars have been spent on ACE projects. I'd like to get, if possible, because I know there's federal and state tax dollars. I know there's propositions and measures. If it's possible to get the amount that has been allocated from those different pools of money since 1998, if that is simple to get. If not, I'd like to just have a better sense over the last 4 to 5 years. As you know, the Metro Finance and Audit Committee made a recommendation to support a loan for the completion, or really to make sure we secured state funds for the Montebello grade separation. But I've always thought that the ACE project, is of national significance. And I really want to see how much the federal government is contributing to a project that we are funding as a regional project, and yet it's a national project, right, that has significance about the movement of goods into the rest of the country, is I'd like to know what those numbers are. And if it's possible for you to get me those numbers, and again, there's different measures, different propositions in the federal and state tax dollars. No rush. I know we're making a leadership transition, but if I can get those figures, I would sure appreciate it. And again, Eric, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Member Sandoval. In fact, we have a chart already. I will provide you that information after this meeting, and there are tremendous opportunities for the ACE program to continue, given the upcoming federal refocus on investing. I think the region will continue to be strategic, but it will require a lot of hard work as well to persuade our funding partners to really help and pay their fair share for our region to manage the impact through goods movement, through moving people. So I think I felt really confident and also comfortable that the team really is at an even better place when I came. I will definitely remain connected with everyone here. I'm still a resident of the San Gabriel Valley, so I'm not going anywhere. So we will have the chart emailed to you after the meeting.
Thank you very much, Eric. Member Hepburn, I see you have your hand raised, and then I've got a couple other hands. I'll get to everybody. But Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair Moss. Appreciate that. And as been stated by my other colleagues, I just want to thank you so much for basically stepping into the hot seat when you first took over. And I know that we are an inquisitive bunch, but you are definitely streamlined our information to us regarding these projects, as we did have, I'll just say a bit of a mess we had when originally you took over, and you actually took this knowing what you were getting into. But you're working with our executive director, Marissa Creeder, and all the staff, and making those staff changes you needed to, and it was difficult at times, but you have been an asset to the COG, an ACE, now the combined forces, and you will be missed. I appreciate your intelligence. I appreciate your experience, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope you the best in what you're moving on to, but you will definitely be missed. And I did appreciate what you've done and how you streamlined this process and made it all better for all of us. And also the transparency has been incredible. And that's what we really look for, is transparency in the financial part of it, and transparency in construction, and just openness about seeing these projects and see how they work for us people, elected officials. Thank you so much.
All right. Member Sgvcog.
Thank you, Chair. Eric, you have been a total and complete joy to work with. For those of us who don't have the details of this kind of work, your explanations have just been phenomenal. Each time we have spoken by phone, you have explained everything to my satisfaction. And when I look at the millions and millions of dollars that we are involved in the oversight with, it makes me feel good that our decisions are indeed informed. I admire your ability to supervise not only internal staff, but with vendors, and the details and minutia that would be far beyond my ability. I am just so impressed, and you keep so many balls in the air at one time. I too wish you the best of success. I hope you get a teeny break before you move on, and thank you for everything you have done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Sgvcog. Member Mahmood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Eric, I remember our first discussion, and I think I said you were going to have a challenge, and you said that's why you came, that you wanted a challenge. And boy, have we provided a challenge to you in spades. I want to thank you for your dedication and for the many improvements that you have made to the processes. way back when the COG first approved consideration of an expansion and utilization of a construction arm, I was hesitant because I know this is where big dollar exposure is possible. And as JPA, that big dollar exposure extends to the member agencies. One of the many things that is so great about you, Eric, is that you have given me, and I believe the rest of our committee members, confidence in the recommendations that you make, because we know how hard you work. We know how seriously you take the responsibilities, the very substantial responsibilities that you are entrusted with, in particular, in light of the difficulties that we have faced, and particularly the what I think is the most extraordinary difficulty of trying to control construction costs when you've got this huge contingency, mainly Union Pacific, that is totally outside of your control. But you have earned our tremendous trust and respect, and you are going to leave very big shoes to fill by your successor. We will miss you so much. All the best to you.
Thank you so much, Member Mahmood. And now Member Lyons.
Yes, I guess I just have to pile on, Eric, with everything that was said. You know, you've just been terrific to work with, especially when I was chair. You answered all my questions. We could go through numbers and construction facts, and I really enjoyed working with you a lot. You have just incredible amounts of integrity and patience, and you're such a hard worker, and you're going to be really missed. And I just have one question. Is there any truth to the rumor that you're going to become a professional badminton coach?
No, I'm not good enough to be a professional badminton coach, but I'm definitely determined to continue to serve as a volunteer, as a badminton administrator and badminton coach, co-coach for Arcadia High School, and continue to defeat or defend our title so that Diamond Bar High School will now earn its CIF Southern Championship in the next couple of years. I'm determined.
That's very cruel.
Oh, goodness. Also, Eric, in case you haven't had the opportunity to see it, I wanted to point out that Member Shevlin was unable to unmute herself, so she did send you a message in the chat and wanted you to know how much she appreciates all of your hard work and how much you'll be missed. So just in case you hadn't seen that, I wanted to point that out to you, sir.
Great, thank you. Thank you all very much. Again, this is a team effort. Looking back the last 21 months, it has been difficult for all of us. But I'm also very, very happy that at least we have had opportunities to meet in person. So I think those will continue no matter where I go. I will always remember the interaction with each of you virtually and also in person. Once again, like I said, the team is in a far better place, but even better than when I first arrived. It's a great team. They will continue to move forward with those difficult projects. And again, that's what we're hired to do. We're not hired to do easy work. We're here to do the tough work. We'll get it done.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions or comments on this item? And if not, it is a receive and file. And that will bring us to item number 15.
Great. In item 15, we did not receive any public comments prior to the meeting.
Okay.
And I am going to ask, since Gary Cardamone, our senior project manager, is on vacation, Renee Coronel is going to provide an update on the Diamond Bar Golf Course project, as well as the Fullerton and also Fairway project on behalf of Gary. And also, Renee, please proceed.
Thank you, Eric. So construction continues on Diamond Bar Golf Course. In this photo, we're setting concrete for the new maintenance building. Those are the future columns steel. So if you drive out by the freeway, you'll notice a big flat area. That's going to be for the new maintenance building. So we're progressing pretty rapidly in the maintenance building. Next slide. Also, we're starting those big tall poles that have been set up. I know that different points of the year they were set at different elevations. It's just how we were working to extend them. So now we're setting the new netting. Next slide. Also another photo. This is over there on the west side of the golf course as you enter through the 57 and the 60 confluence. And last slide. In this one, we're doing rough grading for hole number 6 on the east side. So it's something that's pretty different in terms of civil work. You do rough grading, and then you do rough shaping, then you do fine shaping. So it's how a golf course progresses. So in the next photo, you'll start to see a hole take shape. Once we do this rough grading, the golf course architect comes and lets us know, okay, you got to adjust it like this or do like that. And then we can finally start planting some of the seeding for the grass to grow. And that concludes my presentation for the golf course, and I can take any questions.
Thank you. Colleagues, questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, then this also is a receive and file.
Next slide. So fairway is progressing as well. Next slide. In this photo, you can see they're doing some of the grading excavation work for the retaining wall footing. So this is the buried section we typically don't see of a retaining wall. That little keyway is used for load purposes. So the next step is we survey this, which they're doing right now, and then we start putting the rebar and forming and pouring the concrete. So in the next couple of months, you'll see as this wall continues to build up. Next slide. A lot of rebar goes in these bridges. In this photo, it's the rebar for the bent cap of the abutments. It's tedious. It's hard work. But it's amazing once it's done. Next slide. And now that we've progressed work, this is a pretty big milestone for the project. This is the setting of the girders for the next phase of the bridge. So what you'll see is the girders will come closer towards the photo taker. We were able to complete this operation successfully. And as you can see, these are some pretty big steel beams that we're setting. And safety is a big priority working next to the railroad. So it's very tedious. It's done very slowly, but very carefully because you only get one shot to set them right. Next slide. Yeah, these are steel girders. We have on this design, you've seen concrete, you've seen steel, but for this project, we decided to go with steel girders. And I think that concludes the presentation for Fairway, and I can take any questions.
All right, do we have any questions or comments? I just want to again say how much I appreciate these photos and these presentations. And
it's amazing when you look back of all the work, how things move quickly and then sometimes slowly. But when you look back, they move pretty quickly. And lastly, for the bulletin, I believe
Member Mahmood has her hand raised.
Okay, Member Mahmood.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Renee, this is a question kind of out of the blue, but I was wondering, and the rebar made me think of it, and that was a lot of rebar. Is there any consideration of doing any advanced planning for electrification of the railroad, either by, I forget what the overhead lines are, but the overhead lines, or perhaps utilizing an electric engine? And it just made me think of the load. Seeing all the rebar made me think of the design of the load for which the design was made and calcs were made.
As far as I'm concerned, you're kind of talking similar to what there is on the 210 freeway, right? With the Metro Gold line or the L line, how they're kind of powered by electricity.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't heard any discussions. When we do the design for these bridges, we do account for a third railroad track. So most of these bridges are kind of wider than there should be.
Okay.
In terms of the load, there is a factor of safety inherited in every load, in every design. So it's like 85% of the load. So I'm thinking, we haven't heard any discussions, but in the event they do want to proceed with something, we can share the calcs and they can evaluate the factor of safety. I think compared to the locomotive, I mean, it may be pretty small, but I mean, we haven't heard any discussions.
Right, and unless they move to some sort of electric battery engine, in which case that would add a lot of load, but, okay, thank you.
And lastly, Fullerton Road, the grade separation project, construction continues as well. Next slide. In this photo, we are driving the solder piles. These are temporary solder piles for the shoe fly shoring. Once all these are installed, we are going to elevate the temporary tracks to the left. That would allow us to build a bridge and excavate the existing soil and build a bridge. So there's around 1,000 of these piles that have to be installed. So we're moving along quickly. Sometimes we're seeing things that shouldn't be there, but we've been working with the Union Pacific, and they're allowing us to make adjustments on the field, which is what we want. We don't know what's buried. Sometimes there's unforeseens, but we have our inspectors. We have Union Pacific inspectors on site, so we're able to create a solution pretty quickly. Next slide.
That's actually the last slide.
Okay, so okay. Oh, so yeah, I can take any other questions on Fullerton.
Yeah, Renee, if you allow me to just supplement, I would encourage the committee to look at this picture and just imagine why it is so important for us to continue our close coordination, collaboration, and sometimes even though we and the Union Pacific may have different viewpoints on how we deliver projects, it is still very important to acknowledge that there are and operating companies. Their primary objective is to run their trains safely. It is up to us to abide by everything that they have in place to ensure our piles are being driven when the trains, live trains are running, no one is hurt and their trains are safely passing through our construction site. So I hope that the picture itself really depicts the challenge, but also necessary efforts that go in between different stakeholders. And I really believe that we have great teams. Project managers are willing to work with them, and then we'll do our best to contain any potential cost escalation in the office.
Very good. Thank you very much, Eric. And thank you, Renee. Again, colleagues, I don't know if you have any other comments, but I truly appreciate like these photos that are showing us the progress and just the different phases that we just saw, and some of the things that the safety things that don't really jump out from, not knowing exactly how these things are done and how we get to the finished product. But even just that photo where we saw the trenching with the retaining wall, that doesn't really jump out at you, except for me when I'm looking at it and I realize that there are people who are all the way in there and that trench is deeper than above their head. Like that's a lot of very difficult work. And that's, these guys are out there risking themselves to get these jobs, these projects done. And, that's incredible to me. I'm very grateful. And so if that's it for item 15, I think that takes it to me. I think we're on to the chair's report. And I just want to say, I guess I'm taking it back just a little bit, but I want to say that I'm really excited and grateful to have the opportunity to begin my tenure as your committee chair, and along with Vice Chair Hepburn and myself, we're very confident that each of these projects are in great hands of capable and dependable staff, consultants, and contractors. I want to offer my great appreciation and thanks to Congresswoman Grace Napolitano and the California Transportation Commission, the Los Angeles Metro Board of Directors for amending the funding allocation to the Montebello Boulevard grade separation project. That was not an easy maneuvering and couldn't have been achieved without their leadership. So we definitely look forward to securing the approval of funding allocations by the California Transportation Commission on December 7th, and to get that construction underway in mid-2023. So that concludes my report. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. And again, I don't know, how to express to you, Eric, how much we're going to miss you, and we appreciate you. You have been truly professional and really have, the epitome of giving us great communication, answering the questions, the hard questions that this committee has put to you. And I thank you for that, sir. So at this time, do we have any other member comments? All right, hearing none, and that takes us to item 12. That's a conference with legal counsel.
Thank you, Chair Moss. And I will say that I hope, Eric, you have a good pair of goggles when you're out there coaching badminton. It is the fastest racket sport in the world. And I just looked it up, and the fastest shuttlecock that was ever hit was at 260 miles an hour. So you better be quick. They could hurt. So yeah, we'll be going into closed session conference with legal counsel pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, Elias versus the San Gabriel Valley COG, and the case number is on there. And Charlotte, just so you know, Doug Leaf is from my office, so he'll be staying on for the closed session as well.
Okay, we will switch to closed session now. If all members of the public could please exit the meeting.
And there will be nothing to report out either.
Okay.